Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Let's get after it.
Locks down farms as avian influenza spreads. There it is, Doc. We
Yes.
predicted a month or two ago farms would be locked down. None other than Victoria. Victoria, the Australian province that led the way during COVID for extreme measures. So they are now locking down farmers and birds and everything else. Also equipment. Listen to this, farmers. Farmers in America, listen to this. Strict quarantine zones restricting the movement of birds and farm equipment have also been put in place. Supermarket caps egg sales amid bird flu outbreaks. So, Doc, they're now limiting how many eggs you can buy in Australia.
You predicted this would happen.
It's in place already in the first country, Australia. We got a short video clip.
Supermarkets have placed restrictions on the purchase of eggs over fears of a potential shortage following the bird flu outbreak. Coles has confirmed customers would be limited to the purchase of 2 cartons, except for customers in Western Australia. Experts warn up to 600,000 egg-laying chickens may need to be culled to stem the spread of the virus.
Rick, it's my opinion that Australia is just a giant lab experiment in order to test any pandemic ideas that they come up with. They try it in Australia first and see how it flies. And if it works really good, they implement it at other places. We saw that during COVID, didn't we?
Here we go again. Looks like everybody needs to start watching out for the new poke to come out. I've actually heard, and I don't know how true this is, but I've heard that some countries have agreed with the World Health Organization to arrest any citizen who refuses to get future vaccinations for this bird flu. Again, I don't know if that's true. I haven't seen any actual news reports on it, so take it with a grain of salt, but I have heard it from multiple sources at this point, so people are getting that information from somewhere. Just giving you all a heads up. If that's true, things are about to get real interesting.
And that radio command link. Actually, it's a link along that tether line. You see there, 25 feet of umbilical cord. That contains the life support system and communications link. From the spacecraft life support system out through that chest pack.
So, NASA has been lying to us since at least 1966. I don't know why it's so hard for people to accept that they're giving us fake and doctored footage from the ISS. There are so many examples of them forgetting to paint out harnesses and wires, things not behaving how they should in zero gravity, and the reports of astronauts almost drowning on spacewalks. None of it makes any sense unless they're faking these space missions. When we have glaring proof like that clip that shows we were being manipulated all those years ago, why would anyone think that they would just start being honest with us out of nowhere?
Man, do I have something for you. Y'all know when we were growing up, the Guinness World Record books were awesome? This next one I'm about to show you will shock you. On July 16, 2016, Mark Brett set the Guinness World Record for the longest line of sight. This is the French Alps from 273.4 miles away. Y'all, that's 3 miles of Earth that should have been blocking this photographer's view of the French Alps. This is 52 miles away of the Chicago skyline. (1,601 feet, or almost 1/3 of a mile, should be obscured. The tallest tower is 1,451 feet. And yet, clear as day, you can see the Chicago skyline. All of them, not just the tallest one. Please, Globies, disprove this. Please explain how our formula is different than yours.
This is one of those flat earth arguments that intrigue the hell out of me. How can a camera lens pick up what's beyond the curvature of the earth? I'm sure there's some scientific explanation like light refracting off the atmosphere and bending in such a way to allow the lens to see around a corner essentially, but even that sounds like science fiction. It's simply more complicated to imagine that the earth is round and through the magic of science we're able to see below the horizon than to simply say the lens saw something that was far away because it's simply in the direct line of sight and shows up through the magnification process of the lens.
Remember, friends, that the adversary attacks us in many ways, and in this one, it's through our food.
This guy pours hot molten copper at 1,984 degrees Fahrenheit over a McDonald's sandwich. At that temperature, the copper should slice right through the sandwich, like a hot knife through butter. But as you see, the bread doesn't disintegrate, the meat turns to rubber, and even the pickles and lettuce are left untouched. No wonder your stomach can't digest fast food. The food is engineered not to be digested, which causes it to sit in your intestine, which makes you gain weight and leads to diabetes and other gut-based abnormalities, leading to more disease. If you love yourself, if you love your children, stop feeding them this poison. If this is not reason enough to stop giving your kids McDonald's, then think of the disease that will come from fake foods, like diabetes, cancer, obesity, and many more. Share this video and tag your friends. If we can save just one child today, it will be worth it.
While I'm 100% certain that the food at McDonald's shouldn't be eaten by anyone and probably shouldn't even be called food, I'm going to need to see a regular burger take on the lava challenge for comparison. I don't know how a regular made-from-scratch burger would fare under that test, so saying that the McDonald's burger should have disintegrated is really just a guess. I'm sure if that lava was allowed to pool over that thing instead of just run off, we'd be looking at very different results. Hey, if you're enjoying this video and you like this kind of content, I post a new one just like it every day, Monday through Friday at 3 p.m. It would be awesome if you hit that subscribe button and come back tomorrow to join me.
CIA, back in the day, did this experiment where they placed 18 people in a room. 17 of those people were actually CIA agents, and one of them was just an unwitting member of the public. So imagine they pick you, you think that you're going into a room with 17 other people who are from the street just like you, but in reality, those 17 other people are agents, and they are conducting an experiment on you. So the person that was running the experiment showed every single person in the room a picture of a triangle. It was very clearly a picture of a triangle, and he asked every person in the room to simply state what they saw on the picture. Well, despite it clearly being a triangle, all of the agents were instructed to say square. So imagine you're in this room with 17 other people, you think that you're all off the side of the street, and they start going around, and everyone says, oh, what is that? A square, a square. What do you see? A square, a square, a square, a square. Well, by the time it gets to you, and you're the 18th person, you're going, oh, am I crazy? I see a triangle. And guess what that 18th person said? Well, they said square, because they didn't want to be the crazy person in the room. Really think about the implications of that experiment. That is exactly how the media works. They are the agents in the room that are repeating square, 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 until you're supposed to just completely abandon reason and just join them and say, yeah, no, totally, that's a square.
That was just a great breakdown on how the media controls or tries to control the narrative. As a good example, one thing that they're pushing really hard right now for some reason is the idea that we live in a democracy. Anyone with 5 seconds to kill can jump online and look it up and see that we are not in a democracy, but a constitutional republic. And if you say that we are in a constitutional republic, which is the actual form of government we're living in the United States, then you are immediately discredited as a right-wing conspiracy theorist, which is just too funny. That being correct about something means you're a conspiracy theorist. The media is losing their grip, and it's getting hilarious.
I've always thought that my daughter was my grandmother reincarnated. I gave her a picture of her today, and
just threw this in here because I'm absolutely fascinated by the idea of reincarnation. And this little girl sure seemed like she recognized that picture of her relative as a picture of herself. It's hard to make a determination on stuff like this because the little girl's too young to really speak clearly, and the mom is, in a sense, projecting what she wants to see onto her daughter. However, I think that if this stuff is real, then we likely lose those memories of our past lives as we grow, and this little girl looks to be the ideal age to still be connected to that past life based on everything that I've read about past lives and past life regression therapy.
So why would NASA be lying to us and telling us that the moon is just a ball of rock? Well, check this out. So as you can see, if you scaled what is seen on the moon down onto a flat Earth map, you can accurately map flight patterns. You can map the actual distances between cities, and the flight patterns match up what they would match up in real life. So the moon is literally an accurate map of our known world. But what's all that other stuff around it? That's why they're hiding it. There's more land outside of Antarctica, guys. There's more land. We live in an Arctic Circle. We don't live on a globe with Antarctica on the bottom. We live in an Arctic Circle, guys. And it's cyclic. This Arctic Circle that we live in is cyclic. It goes through 12 separate cycles every 2,160 years. And we're now entering the age of Aquarius. So our Arctic Circle is melting, and our magnetic pole is changing by 30 degrees. Do you see what I'm saying? Our magnetic pole is shifting, and our Arctic Circle is shifting. So of course the ice is going to melt. But that's why they're fear-mongering and pushing climate change. Do you guys see? They're essentially trying to hide the truth from us, that there's more land, that the earth is flat, and that we already have all the necessary tools we need to understand the mechanics of this realm. God gave us the tools we need. We have the sun, we have the moon, we have the celestial bodies. And as of course, guys, this video was just for entertainment purposes only.
So this is the first time that I've heard this claim about the moon map being an accurate map of flight paths for commercial planes. If that's true, that is absolutely wild. But the main reason I felt compelled to share this is due to the quarter theory that 7 Club's been talking about for the past couple videos. I've always found it interesting how the moon looks like a reflection of Earth, just with more continents. And if the quarter theory is correct, it would not only explain what's going on with climate change, but it would explain what those other supposed continents are that appear to be mirrored by the moon.
Let's look at the original name of Washington, D.C. Back before it was known as Washington, D.C., this land on 7 hills had a name. What was that name? Rome. No kidding. You can look this up. Rome, Maryland. And this is probably old news for some of you. I did not know this until the other day. I was just aware of the Rome connection because of the symbols that they have. I'd never really looked much further into it than that, but DC was known as Rome, Maryland. And the guy, listen to this is going to blow your mind. The guy who owned it, the guy who owned the land, the plot of land where the Capitol building was, his name was Francis Pope. And I was on a Catholic website looking up some information as I was digging through all this, and they said, yes, this guy's name was Francis Pope, and his nickname was Pope of Rome on the Tiber, because there was a little creek that went through there that they had named the Tiber. And if you don't know, the Tiber River is in Rome, and we have a Pope called Pope Francis in the year 2021. You cannot make this up. I thought this was something I could just fact.
Not really sure what to make of that. It's nearly every day, it seems like, that I find out something new about the founding of America that just adds to the pile of red flags. I'm starting to doubt everything I've ever learned about our country's history.
Watch this video before it's removed from the internet.
Let me tell you some of the things that I don't do. I don't pay the U.S. income tax. But I want to emphasize for you government agents sitting out there, before you get your water hot. Now, I don't have any U.S. income. I avoid income like I avoid AIDS, herpes, and VD. People that have income have to pay an income tax, and I don't want to pay the income tax, so I avoid income. Now some guy comes up to me. I had an IRS agent do this one time. He said, in an audit, he said, well, if you don't have any income, how do you live? And I said, very well, thank you. And that's what I want to tell all of you, that before the income tax there was life in America. It's kind of like marriage. You know, I tell people I don't have a marriage license. That's another factor over here. And they look at me and they say, oh, naughty, 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 you see. Because I do have a wife. And I try to point out that, you know, before Florida there was marriage, was there not? Now, how did those people conduct those marriages before the state of Florida was issuing those marriage licenses? So there must have been life and marriage and birth and death before the state of Florida got into the religious business of licensing marriage. Sometimes say to me, well, you don't have a marriage license, a birth certificate, a driver's license, you don't pay the income tax. You must be an anarchist, a fellow who doesn't obey any law. Now that's not true. And oftentimes people have said of me, I am a tax protester. Now that's preposterous. I haven't been protesting any tax. I don't pay it. Why would I protest it? What relevance does it have? It's like a fellow, when was the last time you protested the Argentine income tax? Oh, you didn't do that. Well, of course not. It doesn't affect you. How many of you have been drafted into the Army? Is there anybody here? Nobody can be compelled into the Army against his will and over his objection. You men who just raised your hands aren't lying. I mean, you did receive a letter from somebody, didn't you? And it said, greetings, and you're commanded to appear at the Atlanta Induction Center at 9 a.m. on June 12, 1941 or something. Having been educated in the public education system, you knew that you had to go down and register for the draft because somebody told you that you had to. Now, you didn't go to the U.S. Code in Title 8 or in Title 18 and research the Draft Act of 1917, now did you? We're really afraid to find out what the penalty would be if you didn't show up. Now that's what the real bottom line is. Well, I had a student one time who explained to me that during the Vietnam War, he decided that he wanted to go to prison. Now that's a unique position to take. And he said, I am not going to go into the Army. I'm not going to volunteer. And when they draft me, I'm not going to serve. So he got his draft notice, and it said, thou shalt appear at the Army Induction Center in Atlanta, Georgia. And so he did. He said, all right, line up. And he lined these 24 men up into 2 rows of 12 each. And he said, now take 1 step forward, raise your right hand, and repeat after me. And that's an important moment in law. So Ziggy took 1 step back, 1 step to the left, and said, wait a minute, hold it. If I do this, will I be waiving any of my civil or constitutional rights? And the fellow who was in control here said, why don't you come right over here, son? And he led him through this door. And he came back, he said, about 20 minutes later, and the other 23 guys were gone. And he said, I don't know what happened to those other fellows. And for the next 3 hours and 45 minutes, there was 4 or 5 of these fellows called sergeants and corporals and lieutenants and captains, and they threatened Ziggy. They said, we're going to put you in the penitentiary. We are going to take you out in the alley. And he was able to withstand all of this intimidation. And at 15 minutes to 5, they gave him a one-way bus ticket back to Chattanooga, Tennessee. I've talked to 2 other men who had the very same experience, only they went into the Army. They just saw 2 other guys that refused to take this oath. And when we go to the selective draft law cases of 1917, we find that that is the moment of decision.
I'm not giving anyone legal advice, but if you have no income to claim, you have no taxes to pay. That's exactly what the rich do. Rich in reality, but broke on paper. He's not telling you to not pay taxes. He's telling you how to not be required to pay taxes. But in regards to the draft stuff, with all the news lately about them potentially bringing that back and even making women join up, remember this video. This may be your way out when the time comes.
Sources are saying that Mr. Beast is done. I found one video I think you should all see. Let me know what you think.
Certified lover boy, certified pedophiles.
Hold on, let me turn off the music. I'm outside Mr. Beast's studio right now. Here's a cornfield. I'll explain that tomorrow. I've just been driving by looking to see, you know, is there an FBI raid going on? What's happening? My name's Dawson. I worked at Mr. Beast from February to May of this year, 2024. Chris is the tip of the iceberg. And when Jake the Viking says Mr. Beast knew, yeah, Mr. Beast knew. I heard many times that Ava, Chris Tyson, is a major liability, but they can't get rid of her because she's already threatened legal action and she knows too much. And when all this information comes out about everything that she knew, everything other people know, I promise you on everything Mr. Beast has done. Amazon, if you can get your money back, get your money back.
This is all new to me. I'm just kind of finding out about this stuff all within the last couple of days. If this is all true in regards to the allegations against this Chris guy, and Mr. Beast is found to have been aware of it, all of his philanthropy work just went right out the window. Nobody cares about how much you're trying to help the world if you're covering for a friend who's exhibiting predatory behavior toward the most innocent, fragile, helpless members of our society.
For months now, millions of people around the world have been chanting Free Palestine. Well, I've decided to see Palestine. Welcome to the Wild West Bank. Are you supportive of Hamas?
Yes. Yes, of course. Yes.
Are most Palestinians?
Yeah.
Palestinian people like Hamas.
I'm with the resistance.
Did you see the videos they posted of what they did on October 7th?
Everything.
And you're okay with all that?
With everything they did.
They killed innocent Israelis. They killed... Yes,
No.
they did.
No.
Yes, they did.
Give me a picture for rape.
Do you think Hamas should release the Israeli hostages?
No.
No. No.
Nothing named Israel.
There's nothing named Israel?
Yeah.
The Quran mentions Israel over 100 times. Is Palestine mentioned in the Quran?
No.
Nope. The murders Hamas did on October 7th, is that okay?
Yes. They have the right to do it.
The problem is not Hamas. We should look at the bigger picture.
They living under occupation.
But Israel left Gaza in 2005.
Sure.
What does Antifada mean?
Violent.
And neither one of us were born anywhere near 1940. We have to deal with the reality today.
No.
No, don't deal with the reality today.
Britain brought all the criminal Jews since 1948. They can go back. Hollanda, Iraq.
Most of those places they were kicked out of.
Jews have not been killed or exposed to any struggle or any violence. Not
Almost
in
every country in the Middle East.
No.
No, that's true.
Educate yourself. If they are kicked, it's because of their own actions.
What did they do besides being Jewish?
They steal, they do all awful deeds.
Does anyone here hate Hamas? In the U.S., it's a big movement right now. Queers for Palestine. Are you supportive of that?
No. We don't have it.
You don't have gay people here?
No.
No. No.
It's like an alien. It would not be accepted.
No, to be honest with you, no.
Do you want to live with the Israelis in peace? Or
No. I want one-state solution. No Israel.
So no more Israel?
Yes.
Israel wiped off the map.
Palestine فقط.
We should delete Israel.
So you would not be okay with a two-state solution?
Of course not.
Israelis prisoners when they released from Gaza. They was smiling.
You think that these people are genuinely smiling after being held hostage? They're scared for their life.
Who put this in your brain?
I think you're in denial about Hamas. So Hamas implements strict Sharia law. It looks like in Ramallah, at least, you're free to show your hair. Would you want Hamas to be in charge?
They would allow for elections.
But
Why
haven't
not?
had elections in Gaza in 20 years. That's a fact.
Maybe people there want them.
Thanks for watching this report. It truly is a wild, wild West Bank. Peace in the Middle East.
I just thought this video was extremely eye-opening. If these interviews are not cherry-picked, and they don't appear to be, then this really destroys the narrative the mainstream is pushing around Gaza and its people. I hate the idea of a nation being at war and people dying needlessly, but these protesters we have over here in the streets of America need to see this clip and realize they may be supporting something they don't even fully understand. They may also need to see this next clip.
I used to believe everything I'd see on the news, but that's before I discovered a brain.
A brain is meant for everyday use. Those living with moderate to severe stupidity have seen immediate improvement in common sense with a brain.
I thought the government had my best interests at heart, and then a friend told me about a brain.
Talk to your doctor about what news sources you obey. A brain may also lower your desire to take life-altering advice from celebrities.
Getting lectured about my carbon footprint from people with 3 private jets used to make sense. But thanks to a brain, now I can think for myself every day. When my disregard for 3rd grade biology began to flare up, I knew it was time for a brain.
Do not try a brain if you're allergic to a brain. Common side effects may include accountability, discernment, homeschooling your kids, a better understanding of economics, awareness of the stupidity of socialism, and diarrhea.
For tethering yourself to reality, the only no-brainer is choosing a brain. Ask your doctor if a brain is right for you.
For more information, visit tryabrain.com.
That was absolutely hilarious. And while I feel it was clearly designed as a dig at the left, I think it's a good representation of how people right and left fall for the mainstream narrative around so much that actually has an impact on their life. They just don't even realize how manipulated they really are. But guys and gals, I'm going to go ahead and end the video right there. I hope you enjoyed these clips we watched together today. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. I hope you come back to join me. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. And don't forget to check out www.barry-stepp.com if you'd like to order yourself a shirt or a hat and help me support the channel. Also, don't forget to post your photos of your merch over in the Discord to get your photo in a video. But with all that out of the way, I hope everyone has a great, safe, fantastic rest of your day, and I will see you all tomorrow.